night with the parent group, and it went over real well. We actually already started receiving emails. So, long story short, I'm going to just turn it over to him. He's got some really interesting numbers. I think it speaks to the changes that the administration up there continues to make in making it a better school, and I know he's a big part of that.
Okay, I'm kind of tired, so I'm going to stretch out. I don't know if this is the format, but I'll deliver it how I deliver it. I'd like to thank the committee for getting me into the 8 o'clock primetime hour, where HCAM viewership is probably just showing through the roof. So I'm in primetime now, so that's pretty good. So I'll go
We
through
do what
this
we
as quick as I can. Thank you. All right, improving climate and changing culture. Climate's the day-to-day stuff that we do. That's how I kind of view it. The changes that me and Michelle could talk about, going and say, let's change this, or this is an issue, let's implement something here. And changing culture is bigger. That's more of a year-to-year thing as opposed to day-to-day. And the research says that takes, sometimes years to change. And setting and reaching higher expectations. So the climate and culture. I put this together. Joe said I was a data guy. Within the first conversation I had with Joe Baeta was in the summer just before the start of his first school year. And within 5 minutes he was telling me how much he loves data. So being the smart guy like I try to be, I said, he's the boss, he loves data. I love data. I love data too. And so planning for success, people who know me know I'm not into hope and change. I've used that line before. I like planning for success. And raising expectations, which we've done. And the policy procedures, the stuff you guys vote on every year, changes to our handbook, just to keep up with changes, to react to the data. We get data, we make a change. And the expectations, really, hopefully this will show that, we have to be willing to endure the transition period. Where you raise an expectation, it looks like it's going bad because you're having more incidents and kids might not be hitting that mark right away. But if we endure and get through it, it's worth it. And now the data's catching up with what I already knew was going on. Holbrook's a good school. Holbrook's good kids, a good community. Me and Michelle often will have meetings, and it's, why not here? Why don't we have a culture of excellence? And it's almost like, what would Jesus do? What would excellent schools do? What would their decision be on this situation? How would they attack? And that's how we try to approach it. Why not excellence in Holbrook? Prioritize teaching and learning. So that's our attitude. Why not excellence? What would they do? What's the best school in the state? How would they react to this situation? Why not here? Plan for success. The policy procedures constantly under review. Each year, combined effort, students, teachers, administration, community, school committee, everybody. Consistent enforcements leading to results. Also reacting to what we get from outside people. Not hiding from it. Attendance, a serious problem. Unacceptably low was the terminology used in a report on our school. Unacceptable to us. What would excellent schools do and expect? So the data here is from September 1st to March 1st, looking at 4 years. So it's not complete. I try to take, because we're not through this year yet, so something that would be comparable. And so we have the tardies and the absences. I don't know if this is showing up anywhere else, but if people can see this, the 07, 08, the totals of attendance items, again, tardy and absences combined, 9,345 through this September 1st, March 1st time period. And as you see, this is not a scoreboard. This is a trend line. This is what this data is showing. Doesn't show we didn't win anything, game's not over. It's going on. This is just a trend line, and we're starting to see positive, undeniable, you can't get away from it, it's improving. Proving what I knew 3 years ago when I was willing to leave my union job, the best job I ever had, phys ed teacher. Because I knew that this change was going to happen. I saw it line up. We had good staff, we had good leadership, and we have, I think, the best student body that I've been around in my 10 years in the school district. And so 2010, 2011, that 9,000 plus number is 3,703 through this point. And that's tremendous to get down there. If I have change, that type of change will be harder as we go forward because we're getting down to very good, in line with state norms and so on, now it will be pushed to excellence. One thing I did, I said, well, let's look, because things are different between different groups of kids and so on, student bodies changes, enrollment numbers, these numbers are improving. We have more students in the school than we've had. So I took the class of 2011, Mr. Monahan's class, and said, let's look at them from their high school year when they entered as freshmen to now, over this period. In all other scenarios, these numbers would be backwards. They would have good attendance freshman year, you get into sophomore year, junior year, kids start to get cars, and not only is the kid who drives late, but the 2 kids he picks up are late, and usually it goes the other way. We can see the same group of kids, fairly consistent student population with that group. Their numbers have gotten better, even from last year to this year, as far as absent and tardies. How did this happen? Well, each year the school district, beginning, I took from 2007, started making changes. First, the Connect Ed system making automated absent calls. Each year when we put these things in, I could see things getting better. We lowered the number of allowed absences from 20 to 15. It was tough at first. We've had some difficult conversations over the past few years with kids in credit trouble. Will you weather the storm? Will you endure that transition period where it might not look so good? Where it might look like things are getting bad? We're having bad conversations. Oh no, the kids aren't. You've got to weather the transition, and now it's starting to see the results. We began a policy, every 4 tardies equal 1 absence. We started sending home personalized letters to the families of the students that were causing us attendance issues. We added social suspension, which actually grew out of a positive thing. When Principal Baeda at the time did senior privileges, and I said, oh, we got to expand this, because I see kids who all of a sudden racing to get into the building, doing detention, voluntary detention to earn back time. So we added social suspension. If you're not willing to come during the day and do the school and do what we need you to do, the important part, the life part, then you can't go to the homecoming dance. Sorry, but I've learned to tell kids and see through disappointment, even some tears, and it happens. They don't go. But it's starting to work, and it's not a big mystery now. And the word is out. Excuse me. The Connect Ed system this year now includes tardy calls. So not only if you're absent, but if you're late to the start of the day, an automated call goes home. This forces tough discussions, maybe not tough, but it forces a discussion at the dinner table. I got a call today, it said you were late. A lot of our tardies weren't kids sleeping to 9:30 in the morning and just meandering in. Holbrook kids don't care about it. It was at their locker chatting. We had no incentive for them to hurry to class, to scurry to class. They were in the building, they were there. But we put in places incentives, carrots and sticks around the building, get to class on time. And again, having those conversations go up, that's changing the culture at home too. That's affecting how they view it. And it's also letting everyone know, we value time in class. We value time in class. Utilize the court system. We changed the handbook terminology last spring. You guys did that. It used to say parents are encouraged to have kids attend school daily. New wording. Parents must ensure students attend school daily. Before it was like, we strongly urge you. Now it's like, you must, it's the law. And if you don't, and if it gets serious enough, we're not going to let you pull our district into, reports saying unacceptably low. We will bring you to court. It's the law. And it's the right of that kid to have that education. If it's not come from home, we'll put something in place. And if we use the courts, we will. And then hopefully, currently developing a credit recovery summer program to hold students accountable for missed time, because it's not about tearing kids down and catching kids and, haha, you can't get the diploma. It's setting the standard and then providing a way out for the kids who don't hit our mark first time, and giving them a way back and to hold them accountable. And that's the attendance stuff. I'm going to keep moving into the conduct stuff and the discipline. We got to create all the programs that we talk about, all the support, and different things. You have to have an atmosphere that's conducive to teaching and learning. If the atmosphere, if it's not going to take, we don't want like a transplant, something to be rejected, because we don't have that. We have a great outside resource, but our room is not going to accept it. So we've got to create that culture in the classroom, and we're starting to see that. Again, the data. I kind of broke it out. We have total conduct incidents in the green, and then from that I sliced out the cut teacher detentions and the cut office detentions, because those sometimes are like a doubling effect, because though they cut the teacher detention, it's after school, it's more, more like logistic. It's not the interfering. I'm getting the write-up at the vice principal level just because they didn't go. And it could have been something minor. It could have been they were a couple seconds late to class. They didn't go to the detention. It's not necessarily interruptions in the class. And then the purple, which is behind, and that's really the total conduct incidents reported to the administration level, minus the cut detentions. And you can see each year it started to go down. Now the one area in all this data that's being presented where you see it kind of go up and go the other way is on the cut teacher detentions. In 07, 08, there were only 23 reported. 09, 08, 110. It went to 186 in 2009, 2010. That was the year that I served as Dean of Students, and now it's down to 103. But I really think that's an effect of our staff, again, buying into this, that a lot of stuff is now handled at the teacher level. They have an efficacy that they will write it up. And they are addressing these things and assigning the detentions more, as opposed to just jumping to the administration level. Yes?
I think the other thing is probably, and this is speculation on my part, is consistent enforcement. I mean, several years ago, one teacher would let a tardy go by, a student was late for class, but now I think over time there's been more consistent enforcement.
We have more. I mean, in all honesty, because this is not a stop for me. This is not really anything. This is just a report out.
Right.
It's different from class to class still, and that's something that is improving. It's improving daily. I mean, this is, again, teachers are feeling more empowered to address these things. But you have the strict teacher, you have the kind of not so strict. I would like to see more across the board. So the education is saying it doesn't matter who you get. That it's going to be the same thing. But what you see is that teachers are becoming proactive, and the best thing would be that every teacher is empowered, and what they say carries the same gravity that myself or Mrs. McGlone, as if we said it. And that addresses issues at the point, cuts down on the interruption and disruption to classes. And you see from 07, 08, 1,094 conduct incidents disrupting the learning process, down to 389. September 1st to March 1st this year. And again, I use the analogy at that time that just indicates where we were in our overall plan. I use the football analogy. That was the year that we got the ball back. It looked bad, but that was the year that we went from being on defense to being on offense. And now, we're on their side of the 50. We're making changes, we're running plays, again, changing our policy procedure, adapting to data, getting information, coaches calling in, this is how you gotta run this, we're getting everything. We wanna get into the end zone, but again, that's gonna take full buy-in, commitment. And a lot of this stuff isn't really money. It's just, we're doing what we can where we are with what we got. And it's just really, what would excellence expect?
Consistency.
Yeah. And that's just approach, that's just our approach. And now you'll see the actual, the consequences, which will be office detentions, extended detentions, and suspensions. In 07, 08, those are Saturday detentions, and you wouldn't have that many of them. You'd have them once or twice a month at most. And then now we move to Tuesday and Thursday. We do an extended detention that goes from 220 to 520. The 220 to 520 detention is great. It did lead to an increase in our suspension numbers in 09, 010, because you draw that line in the sand, and part of the consistent part of that is this is what will happen if you miss that. If you don't actually hold them accountable, and your things are just not real. So the line in the sand is if you don't go to the extended, if it's gotten to that point, you don't go, you're suspended. And we don't have the benefit of an in-school suspension right now, so it did lead to an increase, but that's fine. That's fine. That's enduring the transition. That's okay. That was expected. So you see the suspensions, and again, it's hypocritical. The 2 slides ago, I'm talking about how important being there is. In this slide, I got the numbers of how many times I kept kids out. But, it's necessary to have quality education in the classroom to hold these standards. But we're starting to see now it's starting to drop. We had 227, 07, 08, 162, 161. We took over, we really started implementing and ramping up the expectations. Really great support from everybody. All the decisions I made, I have trouble recalling a time always felt fully supported and really all on the same page and really able to, explain that and stick to it and not waver. We had 161, and then this year, the kids are, have been there. They've been under this administration for, since they've entered the high school. We see that cut to almost in half, 83, which is where we want to see. So we kind of enjoyed the transition, and now we're seeing a drop in those type of penalties. So, I'm excited about this, but I kind of had a feeling, with the type of kids we had and the type of staff that we had, having come from the staff and the leadership, that we could make these changes and that they would take place.
Real quick, just curious.
Yeah.
If you look at these numbers by grade, is it possible, or if is it the grade of the kids? You had kids that were, shall we say, under the old system of discipline that have since graduated and gone out of the system.
Well, that's true too.
You've had more kids who have been under it that know what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, well, that's part of changing cultures, what they felt they were entitled to, or what they thought was appropriate. We're starting to, affect that earlier, and I would expect just from them knowing, what we expect.
I'm wondering if that's part of the dramatic drop, this year. Is it, was 1 or 2 grades?
Well, that's what I'm banking on 2 years from now when I come in and show you more drop. Then the kids, that's in my pocket. That's the card I'm going to, hopefully,
7th and 8th graders.
the kids, the 7th and 8th graders that have kind of come up knowing that this is our expectation and this is what we accept. We have less incidents and everything like that, as opposed to, the kids who, there's been a lot of transition for these kids, and we're starting to get through that where we've had some stability, but turnover in administration, teachers, and things seem to be stabilizing now, and that's going to be good just for, kids, not having to test teachers and raise our numbers. They kind of know how it is and how we are as leaders of the building. But, this hopefully is indicative that, the culture is changing, and now I actually have data to kind of show people what I kind of knew. Just some brief examples, and I'll end this. But it used to be around the school when I first started in 01. This is how we do it in Holbrook, and I'm new, and this is how they do it in Holbrook, and kind of did that thing. And now the focus has gone from this is what happens in September, hey, this is what happens in December, I suppose now it's like, what's going to happen next? What new thing's going to happen? That's where the focus is. That's a change in culture, not tied to the old. We're looking, what are they going to do next? What's the new change going to be? And that's with the staff, like, what's going to happen next? And that's exciting, and hopefully we build the trust in them that whatever happens next is good for kids and good for them. But it's definitely not on, this is how we do it here, this is the old. That ship has sailed, it's gone. I can't say I like retirement parties, but when they happen, it's one more step into the future, because you kind of lose that, kind of old. I mean, I just got to be honest, like, it's, as a new teacher coming in, someone telling me don't do that, that's not how we do it here, with no explanation or rationale as to why. It's
I think that's valid, though. And I think one of the biggest things you said that I love is that why not Holbrook? Like, why not? Why aren't we treating ourselves to the same expectations that a higher end district does?
Yeah, we can choose our attitude, and we can. You gotta. you're gonna fake it to
These are
make it.
things that don't cost
I
money.
just
Right.
act like I just walk around acting like, oh, I work at Lincoln Sudbury, yeah, this is great.
But I think
It's the best program in the world.
It's a comment on like how we, lack of funding has contributed to lower expectations.
Yeah.
But then we can then make a plea for more funding when we raise our expectations and we say, hey, look what we're expecting of people and look what we're rising to the challenge of when there's no money.
Yeah.
When we don't have all the things that we need that a higher end district does, but we still put in those same demands. We still
Yeah.
put in those same expectations, and I think that's rewarding to staff and students. And
Yeah.
that's probably why you're seeing the numbers that you do, and I think that's what we need more of here.
Yeah.
Because the more people believe it, the more they're willing to fight for the things that they need.
Yeah, and they see, there's a benefit to every dollar.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they fight over whether they're gonna go from spending $12 to $13, but they don't consider, what did you get for the first 12?
Right.
They don't, it doesn't seem to be a fight over the first 12, that seems to be the given, but, just expecting more and everything, so, it's like, yeah, why not here, why not excellence? I just act like, I work at the richest school, and
You
it's
do.
what it is,
You
and
do.
that's it.
Rich is more
But
than money.
another culture change that we had, and again, this is the long-term thing, when we first started doing the canine dog searches, okay? The first, Joe brought those back as our principal. They had been gone, I remember when I first started, we had one, and we didn't see him for years. Brought him back. The first time we did that, all the cars pull up, and the switchboard is going crazy. Okay, what's going on at the high school? What's going on at the high school? Parents wanted to dismiss their kids.
Right.
Cars were pulling up. I want my son out of school. The last search we had on the 18th, 0 calls before, during, or after. 0. That has now gone from when we first did it to we got you type. They're trying to get us. We got you. To we got your back. We're concerned about your safety. I used to go through all rationales. Well, we got to keep drugs. This, that. Now kids ask me, or if they ask me, because I care about you. That's it. Because I care about you. It went from the culture of we got you, we're trying to get you,
Yeah.
to we got your back.
Right.
We're going to keep you safe. Nothing. I don't even get questions anymore after. Usually the lunchroom was all buzz. Now, Brandon, you'll test just another day.
Yeah.
We get you back. We're trying to keep you safe. And that's a culture change.
That's a huge
and
culture
we've got
change.
that culture change, that it's not with the administration's out of control. I did add, we are up to 29 cameras in the school. Some kids think that I'm a little bad with that, with my excitement. That might be, we got to, but, they definitely understand the,
But we use it for the kids' safety. We don't
Yeah,
use
it's a
it
safety.
to, we don't use it to like watch Johnny
Yeah.
or Mary or Joey or Brendan. We watch it, if Brendan just got jumped and it was in that hallway, we look at that camera in that hallway to see if we have any information that will support what the heck just happened, instead of pulling 25 kids from classes to be interviewed, dumping your MCAS scores because the kids are never in class. What's the point of that?
yeah.
So it's,
Not that being jumped is a common occurrence.
no, it's not. It's not.
But-
And
Good
Yeah.
point.
Good point, Brendan. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
not
That was
start
sort of an
any more
extreme
rumors.
Example.
yes.
But, yeah.
Listen,
You would
I will
choose your
tell you-
words a little more
I will choose my
carefully,
words
please.
clear. I'll tell you, there's 5 people in this room, including myself, who worked in that building or was a student in that building prior to 2008. And where this building is today, compared to that, the lines out the door in September of 2008 that I observed in my first year there, the lack of accountability, the lack of just a strong support that the adults run the building, not the